Hey, welcome back to the podcast. This is your host, Ryan Kennedy, and today's episode is all about naturally boosting your energy levels. This is hands down one of the most important topics when it comes to health and life optimization because energy is really the currency of life. When you are fatigued and you are chronically in an energy deficit and that you don't have the drive and vitality to go out and do things, whether that's exercise, whether that's preparing healthy meals, whether that's being a good partner for your spouse or your significant other, whether that's your career, your business, whatever it is, it all takes energy. And when you feel tired and you feel fatigued, every single thing you do every single day becomes exponentially more challenging. On the flip side, when you have excellent energy levels and you're like ready to rock and roll and crush life, everything becomes easy. Everything becomes more enjoyable, becomes more fun. So I work with a lot of folks that have chronic fatigue, that have a lot of issues with their energy systems. And I think it's one of the most rewarding things when I help someone who's suffering from severe chronic fatigue to get to a level where their energy is rock solid, because I just see the transformation and the improvement that takes place in every aspect of their freaking lives. And I love that. So today we're talking about energy because everyone can benefit from increased energy, even myself. Just because you don't have fatigue or you're like, oh, that's not me, Ryan, my energy's all right, doesn't mean there's not room for optimization. There's not room to improve. And the reason why coffee and tea are the most commonly consumed beverages around the world is because people are freaking lacking energy. They're lacking natural energy. And caffeine, as much as I love caffeine in reasonable amounts, I love a good cup of organic coffee or a nice cup of yerba mate. Caffeine is actually a very piss poor way to increase energy mechanisms in the body. All it's essentially doing is masking feelings of fatigue by blocking adenosine receptors, but not doing much for your mitochondria, the true energy producers in the cell. Most people that have energy deficits is because their mitochondria are not working properly or millions of other reasons. But that's at the root cause of a lot of fatigue for people. So I could write up a list and I could talk about tons of supplements, biohacks, tons of things to naturally boost energy by way of stimulating the mitochondria and benefiting hormonal balance. And I'm going to keep it short and sweet for you today. Here's a brief list of things that are either low cost or completely free that you can do every day to really optimize your energy, your quality of life, your health, everything. And these are the things I want you to prioritize because this is what I would consider the foundation. Don't go buying some fancy CoQ10 PQQ mitochondria support supplement. Don't go, using some biohacking gadgets or gear. I love those things. I use those things myself. But if you're not doing the foundation, it's not going to get you very far. So you've got to focus on these things. Number one on this list, the absolute number one, is going to come as no surprise to any of you longtime listeners: sensible sun exposure. We are solar powered animals. And as many of you know, harnessing the healing powers of sunlight is one of my favorite health optimizations to talk about because it is so freaking miraculous. And the number one way, in my perspective, the number one way to stimulate your mitochondria to have more energy is near infrared light we get from the sun. This is phenomenal for your energy levels. It enhances your mood via beta endorphin production, and it balances your neurotransmitters. It helps to optimize your hormones. I can talk all day about the sun. You get the idea. Get out for your sensible sun exposure. I want you to refer back to episode 19 of the podcast for more details on how to harness the healing abilities of the sun without getting sunburned, without damaging your skin, and to reap all these benefits the right way with no downsides. Moving on to number two, movement. Brief bursts of movement to break up prolonged sedentary time is absolutely fantastic for energy. I like to call these trigger sessions because they trigger this upbeat in your energy production. They literally trigger an improvement in how you feel, and they trigger metabolic benefits. They trigger fat burning. They trigger all sorts of things. But I'm a huge fan of not sitting on your ass for hours on end, especially inside. That's just going to mess up anyone's energy. Sitting inside under artificial drunk lights in front of a computer for long stretches of time, no wonder you're fatigued. I'd be fatigued as shit. I couldn't keep my eyes open. A lot of people that think they have ADHD or some sort of attention deficit issue or low energy, they just need to move more. They need to get outside. And that would help an enormous percentage of those people. So I'm a huge fan of movement. And in addition to these brief bursts of movement, so what I mean by that is every 30 minutes or every 60 minutes, just get up from your computer, get up from your chair, do a little bit of walking. Maybe you walk to the bathroom, you walk to grab a glass of water. But what's even better than that is something that's going to stimulate some blood flow. So do 10 or 12 push-ups, do 20 air squats, do some lunges, do some burpees, do some pull-ups, do some kettlebell swings, whatever exercise you want that is going to stimulate heart rate and blood flow, is going to boost blood flow to the brain. It's going to enhance what's called BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor. It's like fertilizer for your neurons, and your energy and your focus and your motivation is going to be freaking phenomenal. Take my word for it. I do these all the time. I love trigger sessions. And we're not talking about a workout. You are not going to break a sweat. I'm talking about 30 to 60 seconds worth of an exercise, and then you just get right back to work. Boom, right back to work, laser focused, energy sky high, mood boosted. You're going to freaking crush it. Now that is during the day, but I'm a huge fan as well of doing some sort of targeted resistance training or some high intensity interval sessions as your actual workout. And then any movement outdoors. Anytime you are on the phone, anytime you are doing work that doesn't involve you required to be in front of a computer screen, go outside, go for a walk in the sunshine, do something that's movement while you're still talking, you're still having that same phone call, but instead of being inside under artificial junk lights, just go on your patio, go walk around your yard, kick off your shoes and go for a barefoot walk on the beach or at the park. Amazing ways to get natural energy production. And if you don't believe me, next time you're feeling foggy or tired in the afternoon, crank out 20 push-ups, go back to work, and see how different you feel. See episode 5 I did on the podcast for more details about this. Number 3, proper nutrition. One of the most fundamental aspects to longevity and a high quality of life is to keep your blood sugar stable throughout the day. Focus on healthy fats and high quality protein to fuel consistent energy performance. The thing about higher carbohydrate intake is that, which I'm not against having some carbs with dinner, but in the morning, if you have a big bolus of carbohydrates and it jacks up your blood sugar, you're going to be on this energy roller coaster throughout the day. You're going to have an insulin secretion from your pancreas to balance out that blood sugar, and your energy is going to be piss poor. And you're going to be foggy. You're going to be, just moody. It's going to cause all sorts of problems for you. So keep the carbohydrates on the low side throughout the day. Have some sweet potatoes or have some root vegetables or some fruit or some white rice with dinner, not at the day when you want to be performing at your peak with your energy. Because those blood sugar and insulin swings will leave you fatigued. They will leave you foggy, especially after lunch. I talk about this in depth on episode number 4 of the podcast. Go there for more details. Last on my list, number 4 is hydration. Every cell, tissue, and organ in your body requires adequate water along with electrolytes, minerals, and trace elements to function properly. And even as little as 1% dehydration can lead to severe decline in your mood, in your energy, and in your cognition. I talk about this in depth on episode number 3 of the podcast. Go way back in the archives to see that. I talk about the importance of this because it really can't be stressed enough that so many times when we're feeling hungry, when we're feeling tired, when we're feeling foggy in the afternoons, you just need a glass of freaking water, dude. Like, you don't need a meal. You don't need to do some freaking cup of coffee. Most of the time, you're just dehydrated. It's like, no wonder you feel lousy. You're not providing your body with one of the most essential things you need. So drink a glass of water, and I can pretty much guarantee you're going to feel better after that. It may not solve all your problems, but it's a good place to start. I hope you enjoyed this episode with these top 4 tips to optimize natural energy production. I will see you on the next one. Thank you so much for tuning into today's episode. If you found it helpful, please share it along to anyone else you believe it can serve. You can submit your own question to be answered on the show by going to ryankennedyhealth.com/podcast. Be sure to subscribe and leave a review for the show. Your feedback helps to support me on my mission to positively impact as many people as possible with this information. Please note The information depicted in this episode is purely for informational purposes only. Please consult your healthcare professional before making any changes to your lifestyle or routine.